Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Great to be back.
Today we're diving into something really fascinating. It might just change how you look at, well, everything from your shopping list to that pile of freebies you've got stashed somewhere.
We're talking about the power of free E, that feeling of getting something for absolutely nothing.
Exactly. And how sometimes it makes us do things that are, well, maybe not entirely rational.
It definitely messes with our usual value calculations, doesn't it?
It does. And for this deep dive, we're digging into Dan Ariely's book, Predictably Irrational.
Specifically, Chapter 3. It's called The Cost of Zero Cost, Why We Often Pay Too Much When We Pay Nothing.
Quite the title. So our mission today is basically to unpack that. Why does free feel so different? Why does it have such a strong pull?
Yeah, what is that magic button it pushes?
And Ariely starts with examples we can all relate to, right? Like grabbing those free coffee coupons you know you probably won't use.
Or, at a buffet, piling your plate high even when you're stuffed just because it's there, it's included.
Oh, definitely. Or ending up with drawers full of, like, free pens, keychains, T-shirts, stuff you didn't really want. But hey, it was free.
It's that instant gut feeling. It feels good, but
is it always logical? Okay, let's unpack this. What is it about free E that feels so good? Maybe sometimes too good.
Well, the core idea Ariely puts forward, the real heart of the chapter, is that zero isn't just another price. It's different. It's special.
Right, he explains it like this. If something goes from, say, 50 cents down to 20 cents, you think, okay, good deal.
Or 50 cents down to 2 cents, even better, right?
But 50 cents down to zero, that hits differently. It often feels irresistible somehow.
And what's fascinating, like you said, is the actual money difference between 1 cent and 0 cents is tiny. Just 1 cent.
Insignificant, really.
But the psychological gap is huge, much, much bigger in our minds than the difference between, say, 2 cents and 1 cent. It's like it flips a switch.
And he doesn't just say this, he tests it with that really clever chocolate experiment.
Ah, yes, the Lindt truffle versus the Hershey's Kiss, a classic.
So walk us through that. They set up a simple choice, right? Pick one.
Yep. In the first setup, the fancy Lindt truffle was 15 cents, and the standard Hershey's Kiss was just 1 cent.
Okay, and what happened?
Pretty much what you'd expect based on value for money. About 73% of people went for the truffle. It's a better chocolate, worth the extra cost compared to the Kiss at that price. Rational choice, mostly.
Makes sense, but then they changed it just slightly.
Just 1 cent difference for both. The truffle went down to 14 cents, and the Kiss
became free E, absolutely zero cost.
And the results just flipped completely. Suddenly, only about 31% chose the truffle.
Meaning a whopping 69% grabbed the free Kiss.
Yeah, which is, when you stop and think, kind of weird.
It is, because rationally, the price difference between the two chocolates was still 14 cents. Just like before.
Exactly. 15 minus 1 is 14. 14 minus 0 is also 14. The relative cost difference didn't change.
So standard economic theory would say, well, the preference should stay pretty much the same, shouldn't it?
It absolutely should. If we were just calculating pleasure minus cost, the truffle is still the same amount better relative to the Kiss in both scenarios.
But that's clearly not what happened. People flocked to the free option.
Overwhelmingly. They ditched the better deal, objectively speaking, that really nice truffle for only 14 cents just to get the free, less exciting Kiss.
Wow.
And they checked this wasn't just a one-off. They tried different prices, and that big switch always happened right when the Kiss hit 0.
And it wasn't just about avoiding digging for pennies either, right? Didn't they test that?
Right. They did a version in an MIT cafeteria where the cost was just added to the student's bill. No fiddling with change needed. Still got the same result. The power of free E held up.
So if it's not pure logic, what's the explanation? Why does zero have this almost magical pull?
Ariely's explanation digs into something really deep about us. Our fear of loss. We are fundamentally loss-averse creatures. We hate losing more than we like winning.
Okay. How does free connect to losing? Seems like the opposite.
Well, think about it. When something is free, there's absolutely no chance you made a bad purchase. You can't regret spending money on it if you spent, well, nothing.
Oh, so there's no potential downside. No risk of feeling like you wasted your money.
Exactly. It feels like a guaranteed win. No possibility of loss, no potential for regret about the money spent.
Whereas even spending 1 cent introduces that tiny possibility.
Precisely. Even a penny means you've made a choice, committed a resource. What if the Kiss wasn't even worth that penny? It's a tiny risk, but it's a risk, a potential micro loss.
So we instinctively shy away from that tiny risk and go for the zero risk-free option.
That seems to be the core mechanism. Our aversion to loss makes the zero price option disproportionately attractive because it eliminates that feeling of potential downside. It's perceived as completely safe.
So zero isn't just cheap, it's psychologically safe harbor. A different place, as he calls it.
That's a good way to put it. And this isn't just about candy, is it? The chapter shows this effect everywhere.
Totally. What about that Halloween experiment with the kids? That one was interesting because it wasn't even about money.
Right. They offered kids a choice. Get a small Snickers for free, say. No catch.
Oh.
Or get a much larger Snickers if they just gave up one of their little Hershey's Kisses they already had.
So trading a tiny candy for a big one.
Yeah.
Rationally, that's a great deal in terms of, like, sheer chocolate volume.
Absolutely. But what did the kids do?
They took the small free Snickers, didn't they?
Overwhelmingly, yes. They wouldn't pay even the tiny cost of one kiss to get the bigger bar. The pull of free he trumped the better exchange.
And he found the same with adults, too, right? MIT students did the same thing.
Yep, replicated with students. It shows the principle holds even when the cost isn't money, but giving up something else you possess. Zero cost is still incredibly powerful.
Wild. Okay, what about something like online shopping? Amazon.
Ah, the free shipping example. That's a huge one. Amazon rolled out free shipping for orders over a certain amount, and sales took off globally.
But there was that one exception. France.
Yeah. Initially in France, the shipping wasn't free. It cost just 1 franc, which was, what, like 20 cents? Tiny amount. Sales went up, but nowhere near as much as in countries with free shipping. That tiny 20-cent charge acted as a barrier.
Until they switched it.
As soon as they made shipping free in France, too,
Yep.
boom, sales exploded and matched the other countries. That transition from 20 cents to zero made all the difference.
Incredible. It really highlights that psychological cliff edge at zero.
And think about services, too. The AOL example is pretty telling.
Oh, yeah, when they went from pay-per-hour to a flat monthly fee.
Exactly. They expected usage to increase, obviously, but it went through the roof.
Yeah.
Way beyond predictions.
Because once you paid the flat fee, each extra hour online felt free.
Precisely. The marginal cost dropped to zero in the user's mind. And as Airily puts it, people behaved like starving people at a buffet. The psychological barrier was gone.
Does this effect carry over into bigger things, like not just shipping or internet time?
It seems to. The book mentions how free can sway decisions on, say, bank accounts, choosing one with no fees, even if it offers worse interest rates or fewer services.
Or mortgages with no closing costs.
Right, even if the interest rate is higher over the long run. And Airily even tells that personal story about buying his Audi.
Oh, yeah, the free oil changes.
He admits he was swayed by the offer of 3 years of free oil changes, even though he knew he actually needed a minivan for his family.
And the value of those oil changes was, what, maybe $150 total?
Something trivial like that, yeah. Compared to the tens of thousands for the car. But the freeness of it had this outsized psychological weight in his decision.
It's amazing how potent that little word can be.
And it even makes us undervalue our own time, doesn't it?
How so?
Like waiting in a ridiculously long line for free ice cream. Or going to a free museum day when you know it's going to be absolutely packed shoulder to shoulder and maybe not even that enjoyable.
Right. We trade hours of our time, our comfort, our convenience, just because the ticket price is zero.
We ignore the very real cost of our time because the monetary cost is zero.
And it crops up on food labels, too.
Definitely. Think 0 calories, 0 trans fats, 0 sugar. Even if the actual amount is tiny but not technically zero, being able to label it zero gives it a special appeal.
It feels healthier, or like a free pass, maybe.
Exactly. More appealing than just low calorie or reduced fat. It taps into that same psychological shortcut.
So you might order, like, the diet soda because it's 0 calorie, and then feel okay ordering the large fries.
That's the kind of irrational justification it can lead to. The zero provides a sort of mental loophole.
Okay, so if this is how we actually behave,
Yeah.
how does it clash with, like, traditional economic thinking?
Well, standard economics, the kind Airily discusses in the appendix, generally assumes we're rational calculators. We look at the net benefit of something.
Which is like the value or pleasure we get minus the cost we pay.
Pretty much. So back to the chocolates.
Right.
You'd weigh the pleasure of the truffle minus its cost against the pleasure of the kiss minus its cost.
And if the prices were 15 cents and 1 cent, you make that calculation. If they're 14 cents, it's 0 cents.
The theory says the difference in net benefit between the two options should stay the same because both prices dropped by the same amount.
So your preference shouldn't really change. If you preferred the truffle before, you should still prefer it.
That's what the standard model predicts. Reduce both prices equally, the relative appeal stays constant, choices stay constant.
But the experiments just blow that prediction out of the water, don't they?
Completely. They show a massive shift in choice specifically when one option becomes free. It demonstrates that zero isn't just another number in our cost-benefit analysis. It introduces a powerful, irrational element that the standard models don't fully capture.
So this isn't just like a fun psychological quirk. It has real-world consequences for how things are marketed, or even policy decisions,
Oh, absolutely. Businesses obviously use this all the time. Buy one, get one free is a classic.
which feels so much better than just 50% off 2 items, even though it's the same mathematically.
Exactly. That word free is the hook. Or offering a free gift with purchase, free trials, free shipping. It's all leveraging that zero price effect to attract customers or nudge behavior.
And what about policymakers? Could governments use this?
Airily suggests they could, and perhaps should, use it more effectively. Think about encouraging positive social behaviors.
Like recycling or getting health checkups.
Precisely. Instead of just slightly reducing the fee for, say, electric car registration, maybe making it completely free would have a much bigger impact on adoption rate.
Or making preventive health screenings like mammograms or colonoscopies totally free rather than just having a low copay.
Yeah, removing that small cost barrier entirely might trigger that powerful zero effect and significantly boost participation in something beneficial for public health.
It seems like governments often focus on the budget impact, the actual dollars and cents, and maybe underestimate the psychological leverage they could get from making something truly free.
It feels counterintuitive, maybe, especially when budgets are tight, but understanding this irrational pull of zero could be a really powerful tool for positive change. It shows our motivations are complex, not just about money.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the big takeaway from this chapter, the cost of zero cost, seems pretty clear.
Yeah, free E isn't just cheap, it's fundamentally different in our minds.
Its power is real, often overriding our rational calculations, pulling us towards choices we might not otherwise make.
And it seems deeply connected to our basic human aversion to loss. Free feels uniquely safe, risk-free.
Zero really is a different place.
It plays by its own rules in our heads.
So, thinking about this for you, the listener, start noticing it. Where does that lure of free E pop up in your day-to-day?
Are you grabbing things, signing up for things, waiting in lines for things? Primarily because the cost is zero.
But think about those free samples, the BioGo offers, the free gift promotions. How much are they influencing you?
And maybe mull over this final thought. When you factor in the hidden costs of your time, maybe buying other things you didn't need to qualify, or choosing a slightly worse option overall, how much is that free E item really costing you?
What's the true cost of zero cost?
It's definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. And we've really just scratched the surface here with Ariely's work. Predictable irrationality is a deep well.
So much more to explore in how our minds work in unexpected ways.
Indeed. Our next deep dive actually will tackle another fascinating area from the book, something about how we behave differently when social rules apply versus when market rules or money comes into play.
The clash between social norms and market norms, that gets into some really interesting territory about motivation and relationships.
Sounds like another mind bender. You definitely won't want to miss it. Join us next time for another deep dive.